Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving Shorty, and I've got some stuff to review this week. Not as much as I wanted. It turns out a lot of stuff I was going through yesterday is actually either one-shots, not really connected to anything, or anthologies, and they're awkward to review. I will say there's a Harley Quinn Valentine's thing out, and in it is a John Constantine Hellblazer story, and the artist John McCrae does an absolutely fantastic job of doing a redesign on Constantine, a character I genuinely freaking adore. Go and check Dan out if no other reason. It's a great little story as well. Today, though, we're going to review Black Tape. It's an AWA one. I've been looking forward to this one. Dan Panosian and Delabo Talahik, and I apologise for mispronouncing those names. Both done great things that I really like. Unkindness of Ravens and Hotel being the two that come to mind. It's a mixture of heavy metal and horror. Again, things that I absolutely love, and I was really kind of excited about it. Before I get too much into the actual comic itself, the reasons why I think this works for me is actually summed up quite nicely by the back matter in this one, where each of the creators, the artist and the writer, actually talk about what horror means to them and how they're applying to it, and how they're applying that horror to this comic. The writer Dan Panosian is talking about the unusual horror you get from being alone at night for the first time and you realise something might happen to you, and I generally associate with this one. And not so much walking through towns and cities at night. Weirdly, I have unearned confidence and think nothing bad can happen to me. But the kind of places I would walk my dog during the day, taking that walk the same at night with nobody around is uncomfortable and it's unsettling. And it's weird because it's a rational fear. Something bad could happen to me and nobody would be there to see it, or the person who sees it will be the person doing the horrible thing. And because of that, it's like a frisson of fear. It's not like a full over-the-top, oh my god, kind of horror movie fear. It feels authentic and uncomfortable and also not necessarily unpleasant. And I like that build-up, that sense that something is happening which you might not expect, because this is kind of what Production is doing here. This entire thing, I mean, again, look at that cover. Doesn't that look like that's a Satanist heavy metal kind of thing? And he builds up this idea that just on the cover alone and the backstory that this is going to be some supernatural horror involving devil worship, I think. The entire comic book, nothing supernatural ever happens. But there is predation on the part of almost every actual human character you meet. There's so much done into building up that sense of tension with absolutely no rush taken whatsoever. Even at bits where we just have a car journey and people having a conversation, it's an almost cinematic quality to it. Each panel is framed perfectly as if it's a camera being moved to a different point on the road as the car is coming past or below or pulling up somewhere. And oh my god, the artwork as well at this point. Talik, I apologise for pronouncing your name incorrectly. He basically has this great sense of style when he's doing LA. I mean, the yellow dusty skies, the beautiful cars, the people, the vibrancy. There's this wonderful moment where this killer sports car, two-door coupe, pulls up and dust comes up from the track. And it swirls and swirls around us, and he climbs out the car looking dishevelled but elegant at the same time. There's so much care and attention to it, but it is the unusual sense of the way people look and act, which is the scary bit for it. And here we get a bit more to the artist's sense of what he was talking about with fear, which when he was a young man getting into heavy metal in the 70s, his mum was really worried. She wanted him to be like a concert pianist or violinist or something like that, but he got into more the darker side of heavy metal. And obviously the 1970s metal is nowhere near as like the kind of very heavy stuff I listen to right now, but I get a sense that there was like satanic panic about it. I mean, hell, people were worried about Dungeons and Dragons at the same time, you know, people were worried about anything that was unusual, and it always strikes me as odd because some of the nicest people I've ever met are heavy metalhead role players, whereas some horrible people I've met are football fans who drink lager and listen to Motown. It's the idea that you couldn't judge anyone by the group association, but people still did, and it is that sense of maybe the danger isn't the music, but it's the environment. If you go from a classic pianist to a heavy metal music industry, yeah, there's people who take advantage and people who push and do an awful lot of things for power and money and prestige, basically just to be superior. And again, we see that quite often in this comic book. There's a moment when a lot of the background characters meet the main character for the first time, and with only one exception, everyone is looking at it over their shoulders. And we start getting this sense that every single one of these people is a predator in their own way. What they are willing to do and how they go about it is quite dark and sinister. There's a lot of unnecessary physical contact. There's a lot of veiled messages and threats about who other people in their life are and what they're trying to accomplish and how you shouldn't trust anyone apart from me. All of which is leading to basically this person, the lead character who recently lost her husband and is at the funeral for him, totally unprepared to deal with it. She is a little bit out of her depth and is not prepared for the levels of what people are willing to do. And then at the end, we get this reveal that there is something more going on. But again, at no point do we get a sense that it's supernatural. This could all still be just human people doing terrible things to other humans because they think it gives them a sense of power and grandiosity that they desire and require and crave. And honestly, if they could, they may have gone to the devil, but they didn't need to. They could have pretended to. And that alone would give them some kind of power and mystique. Genuinely lovely build-up of so many different strands of thought and emotion and story and concept coming through this first issue. Absolutely love it, and I was looking forward to it, and I was really hoping it would be this good. You put heavy metal and you put horror into a comic book, there's so many opportunities for these things to go wrong. You could go full comedy away and go deathgasm, which is fantastic, or you could attempt like too much darkness and realism and absolutely blow it because it's kind of ludicrous in it of itself. But masterfully handled from start to finish. Very glad it's on my pull list, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope if you are picking it up yourself, you get just as much from it as I did. Pay attention to the non-verbal communication. There's a lot going on, and some of it is not as subtle as some of the rest of it is. All of it is worth paying attention to. That's it for me for now. I will try my best to get another review out before the end of the week. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, follow, whatever button, and I'll see you when I see you. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.